Here's the Stone Roses gigging on a live show, proving Liam wasn't the first loudmouth scally to come out of Manchester.
What's happened? She's coming. Hey, get past.
Well, I'm sorry about that. Looks like we've had a power shortage or something, so we'll move on to the next item. And Martin Parr is one of Britain's leading photographers, known for his innovative colour work and for creating a new school of British documentary photography. We'll do it. We'll sort it out in a minute.
Amateurs!
Welcome back, and the nightmares continue. Now, to the modern-day presenter, there are several words that fill their hearts with dread. Ad-lib, fill, your shout, Steve, and worst of all, live. Ladies and gentlemen, TV Nightmares are proud to present Richard Madeley live.
I'd say that my worst TV nightmare, or one of them, was when a reporter for This Morning came back from Louisiana. It was a food fair, I think, and he came back with a very small, innocent-looking bottle of very, very hot Cajun chili sauce. Would you like to,
That's so kind of you, Richard, but I think maybe not. No.
We were told that it was probably the most potent sauce that money could buy. It had a terrible name like Instant Death or something. And frankly, I was too cowardly to taste it. But I knew that Mel, who's our autocue girl, and now a script coordinator, really liked hot food and could take it. So I dipped a tortilla chip into this stuff and took it round to her. Now, what none of us realised was that the way you're supposed to use this is simply just to put a drop in a huge vat of stew. You know, you put one drop in and that will make it red hot. You really aren't supposed to put a whole lot on any part of your tongue. Anyway, I gave it to Mel and it nearly killed her.
What's it like?
That is absolutely disgusting.
The thing was, this made me feel incredibly guilty because I'd done this to her. So I figured to kind of show solidarity and, you know, penance, I'd have a drop as well, because I still thought she was putting it on a bit. I'll have a taste. Seriously. Blimey, that's horrible. Oh, why did I do that? Give us a bit, quick.
I'm not going to risk it, I'll find out.
What have I done? The commercial break was actually kind of the eye of the nightmare. It was horrific. I could barely breathe. It kind of went straight through my system, and I wasn't really sure if I was able to come back on air in part 2. Well, I guess we learned one thing that morning, and that is that, I mean, if the British police ever want to replace CS gas or the pepper spray, we've got the stuff. I tell you, it'd stop somebody cold at 50 yards.
On behalf of not only yourself and all your fans, but Sherbet, you name it, here it is, punch me in the nose. I'm inviting you to a left hook, come on.
Hello again, nice to see you.
Here's Fiona Phillips, and she's forgotten it's breakfast telly and not the Fantasy Channel.
A guest in the studio, Annette. Our first guest in the morning, you laughed at.
Well, that makes a change, doesn't it? We've got a guest. Do we pay you money to be here? I shouldn't think so, but he just got it off the street.
It's the cuddly assassin himself. It's Clive Anderson. Thanks for coming in to see us.
Well, it's very kind to have you.
Come later, depends how nice you are to me. Let's see you
just back off maternity leave. You're a bit fruity.
I'm on hormones, Clive. That's my problem.
The world's biggest crane at the moment.
Here's GMTV top correspondent Martin Frizzell live from the Millennium Wheel.
Twisting and tweaking and twittering around as it actually takes that strain. Now, we expect it to start moving quite physically so you can see. Actually, have a look at this. This is the opposition.
Wheel is lifted into position.
He did it for us. Much better than us, isn't he? But we're a much smaller audience. But anyway, the big audience here.
There's not a single person in the country who doesn't recognise my next guest. He's one of the few people in television who needs no introduction, but he's going to get one anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Keith Chegwin. welcome to the show. Keith, take a seat.
Thank you very much.
Now, Keith, you've been around a while.
Hey, watch it.
You know the way it works. This is TV Nightmares.
I know, I'm dreading this bit because I've been in the business 33 years.
33 years?
Yeah, 33 years now. Frightening, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's so many nightmares that I have done. I mean, some of the shows like Cheggers Place, Pop, and everything you could mention. I mean, you could show any of my shows, it'd be a nightmare.
So listen, guests come on and we show embarrassing clips from their TV past. So should we just get out of the way?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, here it comes.
I've got to over those plates in me.
Why did I ever agree to do that?
What on earth was that all about?
I haven't got a clue. It must have been when I was drinking. No, it was a programme called Saturday Superstore, you know, Kids Saturday Morning Show with Mike Reid and Sarah Green. And the idea, you won't believe this, was to actually do that sort of video and make it into a record that would hopefully chart.
Thinking, what were they on? Well, listen, I can say right now that all the embarrassing clips involving your good self have gone.
It's all disappeared.
That's the end. The next two clips we're about to see, I think, are TV gold. And it's a show that you were involved in. It's a show called Star Search.
Star Search.
Please tell us about Star Search.
Well, Star Search was a TV series actually done by Sky TV when people actually didn't have those sort of like little dishes on the side of the house. So very few people saw it. But what it was, we did 287 shows in this studio, believe it or not. And it was a talent show for the general public. 2,000 acts came on the show. Hardly anybody made it. But basically, it wasn't like, I can't think, like New Faces or Opportunity Knocks, where they'd bring somebody in and they'd rehearse them all day and then do the show in the evening. This was literally queue up and you're on. I mean, we bragged the fact that nobody failed the audition. In fact, one person did, because he was so drunk we couldn't get his name and address off him. But like, we used to have celebrity judges, and I mean, even they couldn't believe their eyes, because they thought they were going to come and sort of like commentate and, you know, mention and sort of criticise and, you know, chat to sort of like quite sort of renowned sort of acts. But this wasn't. Anybody could come on the show.
A quality show, then.
A quality show, but they all thought that the show was recorded. But actually, what was in the show, what they actually did, went out. I mean, for an example, a guy came on and he sort of like, good evening, and his wig slipped off. And in vision he goes, oh, I'm sorry, Keith, I'll just do that again. Right, you ready now? Okay. And one guy came on, he told 3 gags, and he got them wrong, and he stopped halfway through, so I'm sorry, Keith, it all went wrong for me there. I said, well, don't worry, look, you've got about a minute and a half. Pick it up from where you left off. Right. He told the same 3 gags again. But this is I'll tell you what, this is one of my favourite acts. Do you like magic?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you like magic?
Yes.
Well, this is magic with a difference. You ever seen an escapologist where he gets into a sack? Yeah? Well, 2 members of the audience tie this guy up, and I think we should let them see it.
Let's see it.
Robert's World of Magic.
Once you get hold of that then. Right, get hold of them 2 ropes there. One, grab one by one. Let's start tying. Right, go and sit down. Robert, do you want a hand? Can you get out? Tied it to the side. They what? I like to. Sorry, Robert. Hang on. Okay, hang
Fantastic.
The classic for me was, because we always gave them the opportunity to come back, and he came back with a guillotine trick. And he said to this woman, stick your hand in there. And she said, not bloody likely.
Well, if you thought that was funny, take a look at this.
Present is a boot. Today you jump with a... Oh, I can't tell you. 6 months in the jump in action there. Did he drop a few or what?
Fantastic.
Thank you.
But the funniest thing is, he only had 3 balls.
I know, 3 balls, you think you could juggle them, don't you? But the great thing, he was a postman and he just wanted to get on TV, so well done to the guy there.
And the music was just magnificent.
Oh, superb, wasn't it? Yeah, no, the entertainer.
Well, listen, you've made my night, and I'm sure you've made their night. Mr. Keith Chegwin,
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you. Okay. Thanks a lot. So, on TV Nightmares tonight, you've seen people being hit, punched, dropped and kicked. But as I'm sure HTV's Richard Wyatt would agree, this next nightmare can't fail to leave an impression on you.
My worst TV nightmare takes me back to 1976, the year of the Great Drought. Now, I reckon that neither I nor any of my colleagues have experienced anything as bad as this in all the years I worked for HTV West. I was sent down to Weston-super-Mare to cover an air display that was happening that weekend. It was the Friday. Now, I happened to work for a news producer that I and everybody else was scared stiff of. If you came back with nothing, you didn't come back. So we arrived at Weston Airfield to find that none of the planes had arrived. Nothing to film. What are we going to do? But then somebody said, well, there are a couple of light aircraft here, and over the weekend they're going to do target bombing. Oh, what's that? I said. Well, what they do is put a white patch down on the field, fly over with flower bombs, and the nearest to the centre of the target wins the prize. Well, I'll go and be the target, I said. So out I go into the middle of the airfield, waiting for them to sail across with their flower bombs. Oh, I thought, let's put an umbrella up, and then I can say to camera, what am I doing with an umbrella during the worst drought in years? Well, it's not rain I'm expecting, it's flower bombs. So in they flew, and the first bomb landed nowhere near me. So the guy tried again, bit closer, but it didn't hit me. I can remember actually putting the umbrella down, leaning on it, and saying to camera, well, I don't need this, do I? And then...
My name's Mike Hasty. I was the cameraman with Richard. I thought he'd been killed. I ran in, looked back at the sound recordist and shouted for him to get an ambulance. Got to Richard and was very surprised to see that he just had a slight graze on his forehead, and he was conscious as well. He was rambling a bit, and his only concern was that he wanted me to get in touch with the news editor and let him know that he would be late for his next story. Well, in fact, I did this after the ambulance left, and the news editor's main concern was that I got the pictures, and secondly, that he was all right.
Well, I suppose I really came around in my hospital bed, and the nurses and doctors had patched me up. I can remember I had an eye patch over the eye and some bandages around my head. There was only really bruising, not much blood at all. But then there was a knock at the door, and in came that same news producer, the one I was so scared of, and sat down and actually asked me how I was. And I can remember the great shock of thinking, this man's human after all. Well, I should have known better, because straight away he said, well, I'm glad you're feeling better, because I've got a camera crew outside, and I want you to sit up in bed, put a smile on your face, and say...
It's very kind of you to take an interest in me, and at the same time, can I just thank the nurses and doctors here for patching me up as they have. Got to stay in overnight, but hopefully I'll be back to work pretty shortly.
Richard's the luckiest man alive. I saw the aircraft wing afterwards, and had it gone 1 inch to the left or the right, he would have hit the wooden spar and not the canvas, and that would have certainly been it.
It's amazing looking back, but within a couple of days I was back at work. I think you've got to agree, as far as TV nightmares go, that one's going to be hard to beat.
So, here we are, TV Nightmares 4, and I'm fed up with being stuck in this cold, damp, dark, depressing dungeon. So let's head for the great outdoors, the wide, open spaces. Mind you, even there, danger lurks. You never know when you might encounter the horror that is Daisy, the man-eating cow.
How that produces the milk. So, for any...
That girl's insatiable.
That was fine, actually. Price of
either that or this guy's got a nervous tick.
As high as it has been in the last year or so, it's almost impossible for any new entrant to get into the business. For instance, it costs at the moment, but...
Ficaram ilhadas. O pessoal ali não consegue sair. Naquela casa também tentam salvar alguns móveis. E a gente vê o lixo boiando.
And here's a footballer demonstrating his ball skills.
Vai ser apresentado o filme Orfeu do Carnaval, que é um filme francês de 1959, ganhador do prêmio de Cannes e também do Oscar de melhor filme estrangeiro. É uma adaptação.
And let's see that one again. The fly's buzzing around, looking for a way into the mouth. He spotted it, he's in, and he's been swallowed.
All right, it's almost time for a commercial break, but in part 3, Barbara Windsor pops in to get something off her chest, and we relive Michael Barrymore's nightmare, where he had to fight off Jane Couch, armed only with a pair of licorice all-sorts. We're back real soon, but before that, take a look at this.
Fogo de Sobradinho vencia o Guará por 3-1. No último minuto, a bola sobra limpa para
If you're watching this, David Batty, come back. All is forgiven.
Ele faz o que parece impossível. Chuta por cima do gol.